This is Heavy Talk. Each episode serves up straight talk with no chaser. Antonio Brown, a once prolific athlete and one-time Super Bowl champion, has been on what many would say is a downward spiral over the years. His latest arrest has led many to wonder how such a talented athlete ended up where he is today. In this video, we'll be diving into Antonio Brown's troubled past and what role, if any, the dangerous sport of football has had on his actions and his behavior. Let's start this story in 2010 when Antonio Brown's NFL career began. In 2010, Antonio Brown was drafted into the NFL by the Pittsburgh Steelers, starting his career. Antonio Brown's talent was undeniable as a Steeler. During his time there, he led the league twice in receiving yards, twice in receptions, and once in receiving touchdowns. His on-field play is what mostly shielded him from discipline from his antics, which included reports of him skipping team meetings and being late. One of the most controversial moments of Antonio Brown's tenure as a Steeler occurred after the Steelers secured a major AFC divisional win. In 2017, Antonio Brown went on Facebook Live from the locker room after the Steelers won the AFC divisional game.
Let's say very little moving forward. Let's start our preparation. We spotted them assholes a day and a half. They played yesterday. Our game got moved to tonight. We're gonna touch down at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. So be it. We'll be ready for the ass. But you ain't gotta tell them we coming. Because some of us here might not like the damn wolf kickers and shit. The check signing, right? Keep it low profile. Let's get ready to ball our fists up again here in a few days and be right back at it. Let's go. Hey man, that's awesome.
This situation brought AB a lot of criticism. His own teammate Ben Roethlisberger appeared to call him out for it.
It's just more disappointing than really anger. I'm not angry at AB. It's just disappointing that that sacred time was kind of violated a little bit, and that he wasn't paying attention to coaching and myself talking after the game.
Mike Tomlin openly criticized Brown, and in hindsight, his comments during this ordeal foreshadowed how Brown's career would eventually unfold.
The last element of the discussion is Antonio himself. And I'll be bluntly honest here. It was foolish of him to do that. It was selfish for him to do that. And it was inconsiderate for him to do that. It's a global thing in regards to professional sport. I think that's oftentimes why you see great players move around from team to team. And I definitely don't want that to be his story. I'm sure he doesn't want that to be his story. So he has to address these things.
After a while, Antonio Brown's relationship with Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger seemed to become strained, with both publicly speaking out about each other.
I told him on the sideline, maybe just come talk to me. Ask me what happened. Tell me that you were open. And I wish that he would have just come talk to me and tell me, hey, Ben, I killed him on display, whatever. That goes a lot further than throwing a temper tantrum. AB is the best receiver in the world, maybe one of the best to ever play the game. And I like to think that, him and I together maybe are one of the best quarterback wide receiver combos that have ever played the game. So I don't know that he needs to react that way. I said this to him. I'm not saying anything that I haven't told him and talked to him about. And we've had private conversations, and I'm not trying to call AB out, but I just think that, this is causing a distraction that none of us really need.
Things finally went to a place of no return in 2019. Antonio Brown's relationship with the Steelers organization became unrepairable, with frustration on both sides finally reaching a boiling point.
That the initial dispute occurred Wednesday, and Antonio Brown ran a route in practice. Ben Roethlisberger told him to run the route again. He didn't like that. I think he felt like he was getting shown up. So he left the practice field. Ben went to speak to him after, but Antonio Brown left the facility at that time. A number of Steelers employees, players, even the team owner himself, Art Rooney, reached out to Antonio Brown, and he did not return any of their texts or messages. He did not show up on Saturday. He showed up on Sunday thinking that he would be healthy enough to play in the game and was promptly deactivated. Now, keep in mind, I think part of this also stems from the fact that just last week, the Steelers selected Juju Smith-Schuster as their team MVP, not Antonio Brown after the season that he had. That might have been a slight that affected some of his thinking here.
During his season-ending press conference, Steelers coach Mike Tomlin disagreed with that report, instead saying that things went wrong due to a lack of communication.
Then after Friday's business was done, it became difficult to communicate and catch up with him. I wasn't able to communicate with him on Friday evening or Saturday morning. So when we had our Saturday morning mock game or walkthrough and he was unavailable and we hadn't communicated with him, then it became something altogether different. We decided to focus our energies on the guys that were working and prepared to work and present. And so those are the guys that we prepared to play in the football game. Woke up Sunday morning, got a call from his agent, Drew Rosenhaus. Drew expressed that he was feeling better and that he would potentially be able to participate. I outlined to Drew that decisions weren't made like that, but I would be interested in visiting with him in person at the stadium prior to the game, but playing wasn't on the menu. So Drew relayed that to him. I met with AB prior to the game. He asked what he could do. I said the best thing he could do in terms of helping us win the game is to be there and support his teammates. But as the game began to unfold, obviously, I get occupied with the things that are at hand. I hear that he left the stadium. I don't confirm that because, again, I was centered around the guys that were performing in stadium and things of that nature. So that's an outline of what's transpired from my perspective, from our perspective.
Tomlin's comments gave many the impression that he was fed up with the consistent sagas and drama involving Antonio Brown.
You know, like I said last week, you know, the circumstances being what they were and the amount of things that we were going through, it wasn't a lot of communication there. Obviously, we take his lack of communication and his lack of presence, particularly on Saturday prior to the game, to be something that's very significant and will be handled appropriately so. I'm not going to speculate on trades and things of that nature. We haven't formally received a request in that regard, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate in terms of where the discipline might go and things of that nature. Just know that it's going to be addressed, and it will be addressed and needs to be addressed for obvious reasons.
During an interview, Steelers president Art Rooney II spoke on Brown's rift with the Steelers, but didn't speculate on his future.
I wish I had the answers to that at this point. Unfortunately, Antonio hasn't been willing to communicate really with anybody here since that last week in the season. So it's hard to say really what happened. It's you know, disappointing, and so you know, we've got to evaluate everything as time goes on here in the off season. You know, we haven't made any decisions and really can't do anything for the next 2 months almost anyway. So you know, we're evaluating everything, and over the next couple months we'll you know, we'll come to a conclusion.
It didn't take long after that for Antonio Brown to officially request a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Antonio Brown essentially officially has requested a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. This does not surprise people, but this today is a public declaration that he wants out.
Shortly after news broke that Brown had requested a trade, Steelers GM Kevin Colbert found himself in hot water when he defended Ben and how he deals with teammates. He said, quote, "I honestly believe it can be a burden on him more often than he would like to admit it. He has 52 kids under him. I want them to step up and say, Ben, what do I have to do? Can I do this better? What do we have to do to win the Super Bowl?" This sparked immediate backlash across the NFL, with many understanding Antonio Brown's reason for wanting to be traded. During an interview with ESPN, Antonio Brown talked about these comments and where things went wrong for the Steelers.
Of course he tried to clarify because he know he stated the truth and he gonna backpedal on his words. But what ideally grown man's call another grown man a kid? 52 kids, like you don't have no respect for these guys. Like, these the guys that go to work for you. And that's what I'm telling you guys, that's my issue. You know what I'm saying? It's all about respect. Things not getting better, they're not changing.
In March of 2019, Antonio Brown's drama-filled chapter with the Pittsburgh Steelers officially closed when he was traded to the Oakland Raiders. However, his tenure with the Raiders was short-lived, with what many believe was strategic and organized chaos to force the Raiders' hand. Before Antonio Brown played a game for the Raiders, he made a fuss about multiple things, starting with his helmet. AB missed part of training camp due to a dispute with his helmet. The NFL created a mandatory policy that prohibited players from using helmets that were more than 10 years old. Initially, Brown refused to use a new NFL-certified helmet, insisting instead on using his old one, which led to Brown filing multiple grievances with the NFL while missing part of training camp. With Brown's drama-filled history, many took issue with the way he was handling the situation.
Antonio Brown believes he's got a legitimate argument here. I think obviously other people are skeptical that he'll be able to win a grievance against the NFL, the NFLPA here, to be able to wear the helmet that he wants to wear. But you see the grounds that he's arguing of not having that full calendar year grace period to find the suitable helmet. He found the helmet, and he believes he should be given that year now to wear the helmet he wants. But I said,
is with Antonio Brown, he doesn't think through things intelligently enough to come up with different reasons why things are happening to him. Because if he did his research, he would know that Tom Brady had to change his helmet. Right? He went back and forth into helmets last year and now finally has complied with the NFL, and he's changed his helmet. Aaron Rodgers also wore the same helmet that Antonio Brown wore and wants to wear now, and he's had to change his helmet. So this isn't about the league being prejudiced, or it isn't about, like you said, in words for life. What's happening is he has no intelligent opinion or intelligent or educated stance to combat what the NFL is doing.
Brown's grievances with the NFL were denied, and the Raiders ultimately fined him more than $54,000 for missing practice and training camp. Well, AB didn't take too kindly to that.
His feet didn't have anything to do with the Raiders. His helmet issue didn't have anything to do with the Oakland Raiders. But you are going to go on Instagram and accuse them of hating on you before you've played the damn game for them. After they guaranteed you $30 million, it's the epitome of selfishness. I'm embarrassed for him.
Apparently, things didn't stop there. Reports say that when Brown saw the Raiders GM at practice, he approached him about the fine, which led to an altercation.
Antonio Brown's not in the building today. He won't be practicing.
it's a whole host of issues here that basically boiled over yesterday at practice, where the two men had to be restrained and basically engaged in a heated exchange with each other before Antonio Brown wound up being sent home.
Less than a day later, AB posted to social media asking the Raiders to release him, to which they did.
Well, Antonio Brown is officially a free agent at 4 o'clock today. That is when he can start talking to teams, and that is when he will likely start planning out his future destination, and obviously one of the most sought-after free agents we can remember, just based on his ability on the practice field. Teams, no doubt, are going to be doing their homework.
Nearly hours later, AB announced that he'd signed with the New England Patriots. Many felt this was a calculated plot to force himself from the Raiders to New England.
And his tantrum seemed so absurd that how would you answer the question for fans out there who seemed to think, for good reason, that the fix was in, that he wanted to get to the Patriots all along, and he got there?
Well, that is absolutely not true. We were really trying to make this work with the Raiders throughout the process, really up until the day that he was released. And we had no idea whether the Patriots would be interested. And in fact, I didn't have any communication with the Patriots until well after he had been officially released after 4 o'clock. So there was definitely not any scheme to get him to New England or any other team. What happened was essentially because of the fines that Antonio had, the Raiders took a position that he could have potentially voided his contract, and that was not something Antonio was comfortable with moving forward.
If anybody could get AB together, many believed that Bill Belichick and the Patriots organization could do it. Antonio Brown played one game for the Patriots before everything went left. Around the time of Brown signing with the Patriots in his first game, allegations were made against him, leading then Patriots head coach Bill Belichick to hold a tense press conference.
No, there are questions about Antonio. you know, we take all the situations with our team very seriously, and there are some things that we're looking into, but I'm not going to have any comment on any of the off-the-field situations or questions on that. So anything on football, happy to answer. Okay, so, yeah, yeah, I'm good. Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, we had enough of that.
I said a non-Antonio Brown.
It didn't take long for things to unfold there.
And we have learned that the Patriots have released wide receiver Antonio Brown. This comes after a former trainer accused Brown of sexual assault and sued him in civil court.
AB did not play for the remainder of the season after being released by the Patriots due to the allegations. He found himself in more legal trouble that year. In January of 2020, AB was arrested after allegedly getting into an altercation with the moving truck driver.
And we begin with breaking news. Troubled NFL star Antonio Brown, officially a wanted man tonight in the city of Hollywood. Police just issued this warrant for his arrest.
Brown, who's an NFL free agent, was wanted on an arrest warrant for 3 criminal charges. Now, those charges stem from an incident that happened earlier this week at his home in Hollywood, Florida, when a delivery driver tried to deliver some of his items. Police said that Brown refused to pay for that delivery, threw a rock at the delivery truck, causing some damage. Now, that driver reportedly agreed to go back to Brown's home, and when he did, the driver told police that Brown grabbed him, pulled him, and scratched him. Brown did not respond to questions from the CBS 4 reporter last night. His attorney, though, says his client is innocent.
In June of 2020, AB pleaded no contest to those charges.
Brown left court with his orders. Some 2 years of probation. He'll undergo a psychological evaluation now and have to take a lengthy anger management course.
In July of 2020, the NFL announced they suspended AB 8 games for violation of the personal misconduct policy. After serving his 8-game suspension, in October of 2020, Antonio Brown signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, joining Tom Brady once again. As a Buccaneer, AB won his first and only career Super Bowl ring. However, the Bucs would be the last NFL team Antonio Brown would ever play for. On January 2nd, 2022, Antonio Brown walked off the field shirtless in the middle of a game. Reports say the incident stemmed from a dispute between Bucs coach Bruce Arians and Brown.
Midway through the game yesterday, Bruce Arians and the offensive staff told Antonio Brown to go into the game. They believed that he was healthy. Antonio Brown did not believe that he was healthy. He had been battling an ankle injury for the last several weeks, did not practice Thursday, did not practice Friday, and I know personally had some doubts whether or not he would be able to be out there and play. What he told the staff, from what I understand, is that he was not going into the game because in his mind, he did not feel he was healthy. The response then from the offensive coaches and from Bruce Arians was, if you are not going to go into the game, when we tell you to go into the game, then you cannot be here. At that point, they threw him off the sidelines and then cut him from the team.
After the game, Bruce Arians made it clear that Antonio Brown was no longer on the team.
He is no longer a Buck. All right, that's the end of the story. Let's talk about the guys that went out there and won the game.
Antonio Brown took to social media to tell his side of the story, reiterating the fact that he was in fact injured. Still, the public consensus seemed to be that the outburst was a bit much.
He stopped showing up to Pittsburgh. They shipped him out. He didn't want to show up to Las Vegas. They shipped it to New England. It seemed that Tom Brady was able to make Antonio Brown be a person that he wasn't normally. And then now yesterday, we see him stop competing. We saw him quit on football. We saw him quit on his teammates. We saw him for the first time, at least I believe, quit on himself. Now he is a wholly inconsistent human. Nobody wants those type of people in their locker rooms. And no matter what Tom Brady's ever done for him or felt about him, no matter what Mike Tomlin's ever done for him or felt about him, when AB gives up on self, this is the Antonio Brown you get. It's a tragedy that he leaves his team that way, and it's a tragedy because we'll never see this amazing talent play football again in the NFL. That's
good word. Yeah, I would have been very confused, you know, for AB, and just in any case, this is just not normal. I think first and foremost, if AB's to ever play in the National Football League again, he has to get some type of help, because this is just not normal. Like I would have never seen this coming. Being his teammate in Pittsburgh, he didn't display this type of, he didn't display this type of attention or attitude.
Behavior.
Skip, it was just a matter of time. The fake vaccine. We saw this in Pittsburgh. You saw it in Oakland. You saw it in New England. And you saw it, and now you see it in Tampa. Skip, the only difference between this and all the other incidents, you know what it was, Skip? It was caught on camera. Him not coming to practice, him missing meetings, him getting his feet wet and going into a cryo chamber and getting frostbite, him not going to the walkthrough at a hotel ballroom in Canada, him sending out the latest pictures and the address about when he was in New England. The only difference is with this, we got an opportunity to see it publicly.
After leaving the NFL, things seem to get worse for AB.
Former Bucs wide receiver Antonio Brown is in trouble again. This time he's been accused of domestic violence.
These charges were dropped after the victim recanted her story, but this resurfaced another domestic incident from 2020.
Come on, Polo.
The video posted to social media is disturbing to listen to.
Get the out of here, you.
Hollywood police say the video shows Antonio Brown's children and the mother of his children getting into the back of a police car on Monday. At his palatial Hollywood home, Brown unleashed a torrent of profanities at police and the woman, but appeared loving to his kids.
I love you, Poppy. I love you. Go ahead and police. Get the out of here.
The cursing went on for more than 2 minutes and included a staggering 14 F-bombs in the first 21 seconds. Hollywood police say this is the third domestic incident involving Brown in their city in the past 3 months, and they're tired of it. They're so tired of it that they've told the former All-Pro NFL receiver that he's no longer welcome as a benefactor and volunteer with the Police Athletic League youth football team.
In 2023, things continue to get worse for AB, this time with his financial and business endeavors. After taking over ownership of a National Arena League team, the team was kicked out of the league for not making mandatory payments, according to a press release.
Season is absolutely over. There'll be no more games inside MVP Arena. Nobody will ever really know if Antonio Brown was going to play Saturday night or not. But this season is over, and it's over because Antonio Brown and the Empire did not pay their league assessment fees, not one dime of them, according to the commissioner, Chris Siegfried, who I spoke with here within the last hour, told me no fees were paid. And the way it went down was this. AB and his entourage were contacted last night that they needed to pay these fees, which amounted to $21,000 in that ballpark. And the deadline to pay it was at noon today. Noon today came. Nothing was heard they did not hear from AB. And then finally at 12:30, some of the partners with Antonio Brown, some of his people, a spokesperson, did call and tried to make some arrangements, but by that time it was simply too late.
Antonio Brown has found himself in other controversies through the years, from his public fallout with the love interest Keisha Cole to seemingly erratic social media posts. Now to the present day, Antonio Brown has found himself in legal trouble again.
Former NFL All-Pro wide receiver Antonio Brown has been arrested on attempted murder charges. Federal marshals took Brown into custody in Dubai. He is now in New Jersey, waiting for extradition to Miami. In the arrest warrant back in mid-May at a celebrity boxing event, Brown allegedly grabbed a handgun from a security guard and fired 2 shots at another man, a man he had gotten into a fight with earlier in the evening. Brown posted on social media at the time that he was jumped by multiple people who tried to steal his jewelry.
Antonio Brown's history throughout the years has led many to the question of, what is wrong with Antonio Brown? What happened to Antonio Brown? Many point to CTE being the cause of his behavior and actions.
CTE is defined as degenerative brain disease found in people with a history of repeated head trauma, like football players.
The CTE claims stem from a nasty hit he took years ago during the game.
Before this drive started, was talking on the sideline the whole time. It seemed like to Vontez perfect, and yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Brown is still down.
That's course, flagrant.
Out of control.
Out of control.
It's impossible to conclude that that one hit changed the trajectory of Brown's life and career. But if that's the public consensus, what responsibility does the NFL have to invest in brain and CTE research?
And just days before Super Bowl 57, an all-new study is highlighting the serious health risk many football players face while playing on the field. Researchers at the Boston University CTE Center analyzed the brains of 376 former NFL players. They found 92% of them had CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. The director of the University CTE Center says the release of the numbers ahead of the Super Bowl is intentional. And a former player from each team in this year's Super Bowl were found to have had the progressive brain disease. Former Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Rick Arrington and former Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman Ed Lothamer. The director says she wants the NFL to take action to help prevent and diagnose this disease.
We'll take a page out of Brady's book. We can only hope that AB finds the support and healing he needs.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a difficult situation. And, I think we all want, him to just I think everybody should find, hopefully do what they can to help him in ways that he really needs it. And, we all love him. We care about him deeply. We want to see him be at his best.
Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.